pistol, then 500 could put them in a very deep hole right off the rip. We could very easily be staring down that here in a moment, but it's a basic counterpart for 500, a 4-1 stack. Nothing too crazy, but same thing goes for Fnatic, who don't give up any kills early.
Yeah, winning a pistol would be a nice way to kick off this map here. It'd be the first for 500. That'd be something quite welcomed. Can they get the job done?
That goes both ways, man. With the Glock starting to give a bit of a pain train up connector, this is not going to be spotted until it's too far too late. And I don't think they're going to cheat anybody back in just yet. Nikki starting to realize something's wrong, and off that indicator decides to rotate up and into A, but Ships is just triple in connector. The dualies are going absolutely insane in the pistol. 500. I told you, man. It was a slow start on Overpass against Complexity. It wasn't anything to do with the fact that it was the worst team, and Ships is showing that. He's ready to show up himself. 4 on the pistol, maybe a couple of trades to come back from the IGL, but all in all, looks like 500 have bested them for the opening pistol.
Well, that would be nice here. Mezzi obviously going to try and pull off a 1v5. I don't know if his odds are all that pretty, although he's already made it into a 1v3. And honestly, he hasn't taken any damage at all. He has to isolate one more fight. If he could have nailed that one, then we're really on the cards here. But now that he's been spotted out, rotation starting to arrive onto the scene, and isolation of these fights becomes a whole lot more difficult.
Got a smoke, though. So short isn't going to be a point of contention just yet. And if he's lucky, he can manifest a bomb plant out of this. But I think at this point, he's just taking a little bit too much time for my liking. Dennis Law already on the monster flank as he moves back around into the bomb site. Mezzi, as soon as he actually attempts to tap the bomb, I think that flank's going to activate. But that's even if it gets that far. Still looking for a couple of kills. Locks in a third of the P250. But it's just the opening part of that round that screwed them off the rip. 500. Very dominant pistol. And Fnatic have to play this from the back foot.
Yeah, Mezzi doing his best work right there to try and close out some sense of extra money, extra economy. But the fact that Ships just locks that round down single-handedly, massive multi-kill from him, follows it up with even further damage. They just simply could not get anything done after the start of that round. So beautiful start there, 500 warmed up, ready to go, and they show that with the pistol.
Well, it's just Glocks here. Fnatic don't have any interest in giving them more than they just should with the full save coming out in the second. That means these rifles are going to be fairly weakened up going into the third. That's, you know, if they can't get a bomb plant. If they can, then again, it's just kick your feet up in the lawn chairs kind of moment. You should have a pretty convincing round next time, but they've already started it off with the opening pick. That's a gun recovered, and while nobody's got armor, it's still not only an advantage, but an extra weapon to try to work with.
Messi continues to look good so far. It has opportunities for more. They are giving him duels here. Will he be bested? He will. Finally shut down by Nikki. Not allowing for things to get too far out of the picture here. And now they're really starting to farm things up. Turn the tides back in their favor. Up against the Eagle Nikodos. You realize that he's getting flanked in upon here. Chance for Ships to continue the old farm festival of the cash prizes here. But on the flank, a little knife kill. That would be quite rewarding, and he does get it. Beautiful stuff from him. You won't find anything else, but that's a lot of extra cash. Even an op could be brought out here if he so chooses.
I love how now we both just sit here eagerly waiting. He's going to. Okay, that's big news. If there's anybody who can get started hot off the gate, it's going to be Nikodos. But surprisingly enough, it's actually 500 calling the pause. Maybe, okay, so it's a tech pause, but I was wondering if maybe they were trying to talk this over and think about if they would or would not have an AWP in this situation. Because, I mean, that could literally drastically change around what you want to do on the defense right now, right? If you know they have an op, maybe you don't take fights on some of the angles where it's very common to have an op pressed up. Maybe you do something like a con take to try to counteract that. Whereas now, you might just go in blind to that fact.
Yeah, you very well could be caught off guard. I think they should expect an op, right? We know that Nikodos, they like to wield that one. And he could do some good work. I think Overpass is a map that he really shines with the op, even on the T side as well. Something that we usually credit oppers to. We kind of give them the benefit of the doubt there on the T side in most occasions. So the fact that they have that already being whipped out, that could be so impactful. We've already seen Dinislaw do good work with that op as well, though. So, again, like you said, we'll see if they choose to grab that one.
Oh, Rainwaker not cleared. It's a good kill under Roy, but Mezzi is still here to try to trade out his teammate. in which he does with Glaive Bomb still pathing up into the A site with Nikki on rotation. Right now, it's got to be held down. Dennis Law has to buy some precious time. But in doing so, they've neglected to consider the fact that somebody's already walked out B. Pepsor, it's the stand-in to actually open up the lower bomb site, and with that, Fnatic might just take their first round.
That's a nice shot right there. Clearly showing his ability, and also just showing that there isn't any leash on this guy. He's able to take free range, take all the space in the world here, and probably a wise call to call this one off. Dennis Law and Nikki gonna bail out of this round, and reasonably so. They have no avenue into this retake. The issue is the save is very insecure right now. As you can see, there's also a little bit of a flank activating here. Nikotas, maybe not so interested in the flank as he doesn't want to give up that op, but some opportunities to do some damage.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the only way 500 don't consider rebuying into this next round is if one of these two players falls. Like right now as it stands, Ships and Patrick might be a bit weakened, but you can still throw a reinvestment out onto the table. Rainwaker's the only one who's going to struggle, and you'll probably have an MP9 drop to him via one of the two players who saved a gun. But if either of them lost the M4, it's easily savesville for 500. But no, I definitely think they're going to throw their hats back into the ring here.
To try to get some investments out. They'll get a couple of MP9s in the mix. It's still promising with the saved rifles, but they do lack certain elements. See if this had some any success here. Although clearly Pepsor looking to continue to take a lot of space here, take a lot of ground. He's looking sharp, ready to play. Ripped up and ready to go here. After that last round, we only got to see that nice little tap out of him, but was it pretty?
I was going to say, Rainwaker, I don't think that one was going to be flown under the radar. It's still a 1-for-1 trade. This actually might come back to benefit Fnatic in the long run, considering Nikodas' AWP is definitely going to be better to overpower an MP9. So where do they go now? Do they crunch into B? Do they try to extend their advantage elsewhere? It's really the liberty of doing anything. You can't go anywhere wrong right now. But for Fnatic, the question is, do they send a lurker out over into A? Because, technically the wrong play would be going into B, because where the stack is currently present. But if you just find the kills anyway, it won't really matter.
That's a little reward for Dennis Law. Are they going to commit right now? It looks like they're really interested in hanging around. You can see Bomb is positioned towards this bomb site, and maybe for all the right reasons, as you see some transition making their way in towards A. Dennis Law and Nikki, in fact, both grouping up towards Heaven. They're going to make their way up towards Jump Up as well, and this couldn't be more unfortunate for 500, as they have completely been blindsided here. The movement in towards B takes place, and now the question is if they want to pull off this retake.
I think it's all going to come down to if Dennis Law finds a kill, right? Because if maybe he can catch one going back over into short or around that smoke, then there's incentivization to go back into this. There's a reason to give this an attempt, but without it, it's easily just going to be another save call, and that's exactly what's been deserved. Fnatic just hold the line, play patiently. They know exactly what's on the line if they give up any kills, so they don't even try, man. Don't try to take a fight. You literally gain nothing from doing it. So they'll take an early tie game. Why the hell not? 500, that opening pistol's success has apparently gone nowhere.
And now null and void there as we tie things up quickly. Nice shooting, though, from Nikodas. Again, we've already talked about his ability with the op. I think he's one of the more impactful and better players on Overpass T side. He really shines in this side of the map here. He looks so comfortable in the way he's taking these fights. He's catching a couple of these players off guard. They're walking right into his crosshair, and they can't believe their eyes every time they do it. And that's exactly why he thrives so well in this side of things. Although the fact that he's gone down and that Dennis Law has picked up that op is actually not available for the reinvestment. They will not have that here and now.
I was going to say, it's kind of a duality here where it's like Nikodas woke up that round with the op and hit some insane shots. Yeah, maybe they weren't like mega fast paced, but they were certainly impressive. Well, now you've given it over to Dennis Law, who's one of the highlights of this roster coming in, and he gets shut down just about as quickly as he was put into it. Patrick's still dancing around the pillar on the USB, and surprisingly enough, he finds a kill and a half, but the round is still definitely out of contention and easily in the favor of Fnatic, just like the game along with it. But considering you're buying in the next round, Nicky's going to make a case for this one to try to go back in for Monster. Bomb still dropped, maybe? Or actually, no, it wasn't. They just double swung. I assumed with how much presence they were putting on that monster fight, surely they were having to go back to recover the bomb, but no, they just wanted to clear the flank.
Wisely so. That's a good presence of mind right there. Now, flank going to be followed up. Will they expect a second? Might not matter here. The USP probably just looking to grab onto a rifle and make his exit, make his departure. Maybe he can go for it here. I mean, saving isn't all that important. You'll have investments nonetheless in this next round. And the backs are turned faster. Able to turn this back, though, in time. And it will be Fnatic claiming that lead right on back. Op isn't recovered, though, surprisingly enough. I think that was on the bomb site somewhere. They're not able to find it in time. That'll be Fnatic regaining that lead here, but also keeping that momentum nice and high.
Right, well, hold on, because Dennis Law not only has the AWP and reinvested, but he's got the perfect spawn to go for a fountain spot, too, so he could make something out of this round with just his early pick, man. I don't think they're going to be flashing him off of the angles, so as he tosses one or two bangers in, but Dennis Law, it won't get freer than that. He even gave you the dome, just couldn't hit the shot. So now you know the op's back in play. Now you know where he's sitting, too. Nade bounces into short. It's almost perfectly placed, and with the flashbang assistance, they're going to try going out into the B site, only into the M4 of Ships, who pulls out the sidearm to try to finish the job, but in doing so, might just give them a hold back in. Roy and Mezzy have just made this round realistic. Bomb's going to be planted inside of the smoke. Rainwaker apparently not given enough indication with the audio cue. A little too far to the left. I almost would have imagined he was going to spam it, but instead, just going to wait out the smoke. Mezzy phasing it. Rainwaker aware of the possibility, but this kill is a requirement, and now in doing so, he puts himself into a 1v1. Roy, one of the veterans for Fnatic, well, I'd say so much so in the scene instead, has to pull this one out of the hat. There's no kit, but Rainwaker's going to go for the full 10-second defuse, trying to spam it after 5 seconds. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he gives it up thinking it's a fake, but in doing so, he's just bamboozled himself. It's a full 10-second ninja, and Rainwaker, off the back of it, ties the game back up. It's close, but still, it's them back on the board.
They almost make the impossible happen right there, but Rainwaker bails them out again in another round. Incredible clutch from him. Balls of steel to go for that full 10-second defuse. But that's the exact right play to call out right there. And again, I mean, that started out 2-on-5, and it could have gone wrong, which is a bit bizarre given how well 500 have played. But that's a credit to Mezzy and Roy. We've already talked about these guys and their individual ability. Mezzy, he's delivering right now. He's finding big openings. Roy showing up in the server as well. They almost made that possible. So incredibly close. Rainwaker's one that you cannot underestimate right now. And they learned it the hard way here. They're going to test him again, though. And this time, Roy, he's able to get his revenge.
And finally get on the board, too. Well, I guess that comes off of the last round's momentum, but that's one of the rifles taken down. I mean, you got to realize with how close that previous was, they're missing not only the AWP, but a handful of M4s, too. So to lose a player like Rainwaker isn't just impactful for the fact of taking down the top fragger. It's impactful for the fact that that's a rifle they just can't recover. So another 4-on-5 bids the way of 500, who need to make some out-of-pocket audacious play just to try and pull this back. And Dennis Law is going to be the one to try to step up to the plate. Prepped all the way up into bathrooms. Maybe he wants to go for a timing peak to get some map control, but he's already done that.
Right now, they're making a lot of noise here on the fall-off, so they're very committed towards this B-side. Patrick going to line up a couple of opportunities, but misses out, and the trade is quickly delivered. Roy has a point of connector cut off as well, so getting past this line is going to be near impossible, and clotheslining Dennis Law is so pristine. Ships needs to find another big multi-kill. Nikodas missing, so the opportunities arise now for Ships to close out this round, but Nikodas gets a second chance. He misses out on another opportunity. AK picked up more ammo in the chamber, but faster finally to put an end to the madness.
That was scary, too, because he had a molly to use if he was able to find that first kill in pit. And I don't think they were in tradable distance, so he probably wasn't going to swing off it. Imagine a clutch like that going back the way of 500 would be heartbreaking for Fnatic, but it's not a heartbreak they have to worry about just yet. Managing their own emotions and staying on top of things, the lead once again regains. It sends 500 packing to a full eco.
That's a good position to be in right there. And again, you know, if you're going to lose a 1v1 clutch, if you immediately reply, it takes a lot of that sting of a lost clutch away. Because you know what standing your opposition is going to be in. It's a bunch of USPs here. Nikki with a little bit of extra money, but I think that's probably prioritized to get an op in Dennis Law's hands for future rounds, if that's a possibility. 5-man B stack right now. 500 trying to catch Fnatic off guard.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often you see stacks like this on a map like Overpass. Usually it's like a con push or a fountain crunch or something, but I guess maybe the element of surprise could work, though that's already pretty much been sussed out. Flash in, Pepsor's gotten the info and just decided to back away instead of overcommit. Youngster apparently no matter, playing like a veteran himself when you watch his movements. Maybe even find a couple of kills for the tally, too. Cherry on top and maybe even a round to go on the resume, but 2 kills, I guess, not all that impressive against USBs. Round's still not going to go anywhere near the way of 500, though. Quick shutdown and a quick 8th goes the way of Fnatic as 500 get one more bite back before things start to get out of hand.
Nice and tidy right there. And the closer. I think he will be able to drop that off over to Denislaw, though. That's promising. I'm surprised. I mean, obviously, Nikodos, he had a lot of support in his position. But taking those fights with the Glock there is so incredibly brazen. Didn't get punished for it, though. He does farm up those sweet eeks here. Now, it looks like Fnatic looking to pick up the pace towards this B side. They're going to try and move in quickly.
I'm all for it. I like a good pace change. This time they do go through a monster smoke, and it's already worked for a couple of kills. Completely blinded up. The pit defense crumbles, and Denislaw's no scope won't connect. It is squeaky clean on the hold. Once in a blue moon does a take like that work. They commit the cardinal sin, but the devil cannot touch them. Fnatic instantly go up to a 6th and 500. Head in hands, tail tucked. They run for the hills, but Rainwaker still might not even be granted the safety of a save.
Yeah, I can't believe the amount of success that they just had right there. Great utility usage from Fnatic, but 500, I feel like, had every opportunity to put a stop to that aggression by having 4 players at the start of the round towards B. Nets them nothing. Absolutely 0 kills even. That's what's so insane about this round, is that it's 0 kills that even take place right now. And I think maybe Rainwaker saved to save. I say that potentially. I don't know if they're really in hunting zone by now, but either way, the fact that they have so much presence on that B bomb site and it nets them absolutely nothing is absurd.
That is the worrying factor. And you think back to some of those holds that they put up against Complexity, even then, it was kind of weak on the defense, right? Where Complexity, they did end up going through that monster smoke a couple of times. Even when the utility was a bit poor, it still took 500 a bit of a sloppy hold for them to clean things up, and a couple of clutches sprinkled into the mix too. So never really felt like 500's B holds were all that consistent. And Fnatic, I told you, it's like this is a team that's going to punish you on those mistakes. They're not going to be so forgiving. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Where I know it's technically a better score than was shown initially versus Complexity, but it feels different.
It's got to feel different as well, man. The experience that Fnatic has already shown, the ability that they have gathered, and then again, we're seeing kind of a good showing out of Mezzy in an individual form. The guy is firing on all cylinders at the moment. I mean, all of this being a factor here is going to really lend well to Fnatic's opportunities. All of these different win conditions that we talked about heading into this game might not mean the most here if 500 can't figure out a way to punish them.
I mean, it's just crazy to me to think that as all of the Fnatic players are even in the kill feeds. Like, it's everybody has 7 kills except Nikodos, who's on 6. The only reason that's really surprising to me is because Roy started this game 0-5. So he's caught up, started to hit a little more shots. Same thing goes for players like Nikodos, Fasher, who are also stuck on that eggshell for quite some time. And it's starting to be the contributing factor. Oh, there's no way. There's no way he had that potential for a pick and just right-click the barrel. It doesn't get more unfortunate for that if you're Rainwaker. But it'll still get the task, man. They're just disrespecting him. They're going to go walking into the A site knowing he's here.
This is very, very scary. They don't want to test Rainwaker right now. 15 seconds left. If he isolates any more duels, he could get away with this big time right now. Fasher, rather, wielding the op at the moment, and he's let him slip on by. He doesn't realize in time. Bomb is planted, but Rainwaker's put things into a 1-on-2, and Pepster's down low.
Gotta set up a crossfire right now, and you've got to play off one another to literal perfection, Roy. Timing could be against him right now as a couple of bullets spam into the truck side. He knows Pepsor's there, but a laser accurate shot from the youngster standing on Fnatic. It locks in 7 and avoids devastation. I told you, man. Rainwaker, you just disrespect him, and that's what's going to happen. They almost actually lose the round because of it, too. He wins every single 1v1 he's given. But the final hurdle, he can't close it out. The crossfire is just too strong, and Fnatic again are able to hold on. But that was an eco, so no harm, no foul for 500. They got 3 kills. They did good damage.
Yeah, that's definitely the check off your box right there. You want, Rainwaker as well to continue to feel confident. But Pepser, man, he is delivering right now, leading the server, standing in and stepping up to the plate big time now. Nikodas is going to meet head-to-head to Denislaw, and I don't know if I really favor Nikodas, but he is walking into his angle instead. No. This is so incredibly scary, but eventually Nikodas is going to pull the pin on that. He'll spot the shoulder in time to open up proceedings and punish the aggression.
No surprise, too, when you think of an opera like this guy. Very highly rated and not for a fake reason. So with this 5-on-4, Fnatic are just going to hold for the time being. I think they've clearly identified the weakness of 500. I mean, you can already see with how many players are stacked up towards that B take. Fnatic, they have understood that no matter how many players 500 put on the counterpart against them, they can break through it. Still, though, they haven't fully committed, I'll say. They've got the Lurk and Mezzi potentially just trying to pull some presence into the A-bomb site, because that is also something 500 have been prone to do. These rotations have been so eager, so quick. And it's just another weak spot of the CT side that Fnatic are abusing.
A lot of trust in Rainwaker to hold things down, and maybe for good reason, as he just nails these kills so quickly. He has been solo on A plenty of times.
There's 3 A.
Just have support, and yeah, exactly right. It's just Patrick now. They've really been sold on this A side play, but they couldn't be more wrong. Patrick left on an island now, left his own devices. He needs to isolate these duels, but recovery has come through in time, and Chips bails him out. Patrick holds his own, and Nikodas, despite finding the opening pick, is left last man standing with nothing he can do.
And there's just not enough time to even make the case for this one. Like, you can find a couple of kills, sure, take some guns out of CT's hands. You know how impactful it's going to be, but with the timer now going against you, it's not so much in the fact that you want to hold on to the op. It's more so that, number one, you don't want to give it to them, and you didn't get anything money-wise back. So just, you let him have it. You realize you made a bit of an oopsie there at the end. Bit disjointed on the site take. I mean, they had the right call. They had the right read. Mezzi, it was another beautiful play from him, or at least beautiful call from him in the comms, but they just can't execute on it. Patrick was completely isolated there, but he bought so much time for the rotations. Rather, Fnatic just gave it to them that didn't matter how many rotates they pulled.
Yeah, it's a really well thought out round right there. Quick rotations, 500 able to close things out despite having maybe some miscues. Good time being bought there. Again, Patrick, one of the newer faces to this roster, but making sure that he's showing up in the server here to deliver some impact. So incredibly key.
Remember, on Overpass, against Complexity, it was still an 8-7 half for 500. They still won the half. That might not be an option available to them anymore. As again, they've just lost the AWP and Denislaw, but more importantly, they've given up another man advantage. Fnatic headstrong on hitting this B site, it seems, with a minute taken off of the clock. Nikodas, I don't know if they spotted him in the sewer pipe, but if you go for another jump spot, you're just a dead man walking.
Oh, and the lurk. Vasher, what was that turnaround? He absolutely nails Nikki to the wall, and the jump peek right there. That is so insane. Vasher showing exactly what he's made of, but they're walking into the last 2 men standing, and bomb is just dropped on the ground. All of a sudden, this round starts to turn sour quickly. They're looking to pull things back, but they can't get the bomb just yet. They have to wait things out just a little bit, and they're pushing the extremities. Vasher gonna wait for that, though. And Chips puts Patrick on an island here on the B bomb site. 1-on-3 to work with, and he's getting flanked out as well. He's going to take the reposition in towards Graffiti a long way around. Can he get it in safe passage in time? He might be able to slip by the crosshairs, but they'll still be able to claim this B bomb site.
Is he ready for this? It feels like Patrick knows about this possibility. He's clearing all these little nooks and crannies, but Roy, I think eventually he's going to turn back to the wiser of the idea of him having been timed all the way around through Graffiti. Nikodas holding the right angle, but Roy, he might honestly timing himself. Like, you see how headstrong he is on clearing out all these different corners. But with the noise now given, Patrick, little does he know, he's being hunted by 2-3 players even, knowing that he's pretty much vacated into the A-bomb site. Nikodas wants to cut him off from going back in the bathrooms. And holding onto this gun, well, it would be absolutely insane to be able to do right now if you're 500. Doesn't look all that possible, but it is if you catch timing of this. What are you trying to do, my friend? A knife kill to add insult to injury. But now it's a mission of hanging on to the AWP. Still being hunted too in by Roy, who went all the way around from that flank. Not too sure if he's going to be ready for him to be pushed this far up, but still lands the shot. And finally, respect given with extra cash to boot. Fnatic win the half, but by how much?
You got to see this right now. Fasher with this fast 180. That is so insane right there. What he has just done in this round is impossible. Head on a swivel. Accuracy is pinpoint. And he's just delivered a winning half there to Fnatic despite, some close margins there. 500 almost pulling that one back. Again, we're seeing a 5-man early B-side play. They're just going to go straight to the Monster Smoking Kid, and they could suffer the same results, or maybe something better. It will be ships to pull things back nicely so, but Patrick's on low HP, and Rainwaker's already made the rotation quickly in towards this short side.
Does he peek, though? No, he doesn't. He just hides on the top here. And they're going to go ahead and test the waters here, no pun intended. No flashbangs, too, so this could literally just be a quick mowdown from him. Peeking in now, Mezzi's got better wind of what's going on, and you've still got a very low member in the likes of Patrick defending this B site. So if Nicky can't get the job done, then, you'd be in for a world of hurt. But instead, they just go all the way back in a T-spawn and decide, let's regroup, see if we can't play to the timings in this round. And even Bogdan's Law in full effect, Mr. Bogdan's Law himself.
That's kind of tricky whenever there's a couple low HP bars, but it will be Mezzi wielding it in this occasion. Needs to be sharp here to deal with Dennis Law on his counterpart. Although he's left alone on this A bomb site here, and he doesn't necessarily have the right angle at the moment. They could really scale up, and they could scale quickly, catch him off guard on the peak here. Mezzi hasn't been spotted, but he could be soon. And there's the immediate kill that's going to trigger this aggression.
Dennis Law finally gets something done with the AWP, but a little bit more required in which he delivers. Nikodaz left alone in the 1v3. Won't be anything close to achievable when you've got a hat trick pulled out of the hat like that. And I say finally Dennis Law gets something done because there's been a lot of times where they gave him this AWP, and it's just been very unfortunate scenes of events. Like, he goes for these aggressive peaks, he doesn't land the shots. Seldom has he had that much impact on this map. So to finally see him get activated is, I guess, better late than never for 500, but they still need to capitalize on both of these final rounds. We saw a pretty decent T side out of them against Complexity, but this is Fnatic. This is a different team, and this is one that usually doesn't drop that CT pistol, so is almost a surefire lock to pick up the opener in that second half. And you just kind of got to roll with the punches at this point.
Yeah, you certainly do. It is definitely a different team, though, right now. That's what we're getting out of them. Right now, the individual form that we're gathering out of Fnatic, showing that they're clearly warmed up as well. Some nice shooting being done, despite losing that last round. Try their luck. I think that Denslaw needs to continue to show some ability with this op. He actually had a really good T-side versus Complexity, so I don't even want to count him out, despite having little impact here so far on the CT side, other than that last round.
That's true. There's an all or nothing buy, though, from Fnatic, and surprising to see considering the amount of success they've had this half is the fact that they might be down to pistols if they can't convert on this round right here, but I don't think that's something Mezzi's worrying about. He's too busy calling the strat of his lifetime.
Perfect smoke. It's going to allow him to scale up and put some serious pressure on Dennis Law. He's going to have to call in some quick rotations. As you can see, this is actually flooding down 2 players in towards that A side, or at least trying to cheat that direction, hoping that they can catch him in transition.
They've done it so many times, so you can't really blame them for the confidence. Look at this from 500, man. They're so just headstrong with rotating quickly. So quick to pull the trigger on the stacks, man. There's all 4 remaining defenders on B right now, praying, hoping Fnatic come walking into their crosshairs. And you already shown face of it. Like, you've fired off a couple of shots on that lower site. I don't know if they heard the rotation, but certainly making it known with how many players are peeking in Monster. And alongside that, this has all been spotted and calmed by Pepstore. They're going to walk into A for free, and I don't even think 500 are going to attempt the retake.
Yeah, probably going to just call this one a save here. As you can see right now, they're just waiting for this execute to take place, and little does Fnatic know that they're going to walk into an open and clear A bomb site. Easiest take of their life. Brilliant mid-round right there for Mezzi. Good information I can only imagine given from Pepsor as well. So again, I feel like even when he doesn't get a kill in this round, he's still having some impact. He's making some good reads. He's giving the good info that he needs to be here. And that's going to be a freebie round, all off the back of 1 pick. I feel like maybe, just maybe 500 are entrusting Rainwaker a little bit too much in the sole defense, right? Because he's had a hell of a game so far. But a lot of these rounds, he is left very far forward on this A side and very much so alone in a lot of occasions.
I'm just thinking of the future right now because Fnatic have already earned themselves a 9th. The buyback from 500 is going to be just about as good as it was here, but the CT side is a different story. Fnatic are not known for choking it. They are known for very, very strong showings from the defensive standpoint, and 500 have next to nothing going for them. There's no momentum. You think past the opening pistol, they've won 3 rounds. Night and day from what we saw against Complexity, and maybe we're just falling a little back, a little more down to earth from what 500 are going to be capable of in this event. Maybe it was just a poor showing from Complexity more than a great one from 500.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both, right, though, too, all right? I mean, we know that Fnatic have themselves a whole lot of firepower in this roster. We know that 500 have nothing to lose when they head into that matchup at Complexity. They have a whole lot to lose, right? They are still in a little bit of a slump period in this roster, so you can imagine it is a little bit of both right now, and we're seeing some evidence that Fnatic is showing that, that the complete opposite is true for them. They're operating on maximum confidence, and it's showing in the server, even with Pepsor delivering as well in an individual front. And Rainwaker, again, he's very much so isolated. Mezzi has another opportunity to take a duel, and he spotted him out. He's trying to play tricky with him.
Mezzi's been so good at just these long lurks, man. Whether it's taking this map control or keeping rotations pinned and pulled, like Mezzi has done it all on this map so far, including getting multi-kills. So that's just another problem that you have to deal with right now if you're 500. Already most of this counter utility used up too. Only 1 smoke left and a handful of mollies. And as soon as it fades, Rainmaker might be first blood given away. Denislov's, well, he at least got 1. I'm actually kind of surprised considering the amount of presence that was there, but still, what's going on here? Fnatic, they kind of look a bit disjointed and disgruntled in this take, man. The bombers drop it bathrooms, and they just drop a smoke and jump through it. Okay, well, I don't know if it's a disrespect thing or just a no idea what to do here thing, but there was certainly a lot of mistakes there for Fnatic. 25 seconds, it's doable to try to pull this one back out of the hat because Pepsor just cleared out B. With that kill, I thought maybe he was going to get shut down, but no, even on half HP makes it look easy. So this round instantly turns on its head. Fnatic now the favorites as the bomb goes down, and in the post plant, they've got the better of the 2 spots.
Pepsor, he's waiting for them to flood out of heaven, but he's been spotted already. So he's forced to reposition. Nico Dossi needs to be the next point of contact.
Well, they know he's pinned into the site. What can you really do when you've got both of them swinging heaven at the same time? Who cares what Nikodas can do? It's the Pepsor show. Double digits for Fnatic in a very beautiful showing there before that. I'll hold my breath. Maybe, just maybe 500 can make a bit of a game out of this one.
Certainly so. They definitely can. They've already shown that their T side is pretty effective, so you can't count them out by any means, but this is just going to be a straight B brawl. They're looking to get more pistol round action, already kicking things off with a couple of opening picks. This time it looks to be a full team effort on this pistol, or maybe it's just Nikki and Patrick, the 2 new guns to the show, are going to find the openers there, and now Fnatic have to pull this one back from the brink.
If there was any way they were going to get back into this game, it was with a pistol win here, starting themselves off strong. These guys, very, very well known for their aim sometimes and their explosive presence on the map. It's most notably shown on this T side, so hey, I can't wait to see what they have in store when the guns come out for both sides of the coin. But already, 500 are ready to get themselves back in gear with the pistol round like this. And it's completely different from the opener where it was like Ships found 3-4 kills. Then it was close. Mezzi made a case for himself in it. Instead, it's just 500 from the get-go shutting it down, not showing any signs of weakness or cracks in the armor. And Fnatic have no chance to catch up to the pace.
No, that's both pistols converted this time, but the scoreline's still looking a little bit rough at the moment in this occasion. But if there was ever a way to get back into this game, it would be by closing out that pistol, get yourself right back into this one quick and easy. There's going to be a first buy, though. Surprising to see this one come through from Fnatic. With their lead, I feel like you don't really need to go for this force buy, but they're willing to take this risk.
I guess they are, right? Because, well, actually, no, we didn't see the force buy from them in the first one. So, you know what? I will say I am kind of surprised because, while, yeah, there isn't any risk when it comes to the, like, flat-out round count. It's like, historically speaking, Fnatic haven't been that team to buy up after a loss. They usually just concede the second and then play for the third. But apparently they have some form of info or idea in their heads that they can contend here. And maybe they're right for it. Who knows? They've got some fairly aggressive and straightforward positioning, but the bait and switch is really what I'm going to keep my eye on, because Mezzi's just trying to ensure that a couple of kills can come through from this close-range Deagle and Roy.
Yeah, looking for the bait and switch right there. The old tag and bag with the scouts, but Mezzi not able to land a single shot before he gets taken down by Nicky. Beautiful shooting from him. Kick things off, so a bit sour as this kickoff here, but again, Roy can do a lot of damage in this position. He hasn't been checked just yet. Yeah,
I was going to say, Glass Slipper's eventually going to crack on that one. Even if he got one or two, I can't imagine it goes far enough for them to contend in this round. So the bomb's going to go down. Pretty much round going to be one. Fnatic maybe just looking for a couple of exit kills, or even just holding on to their armor would be warranting of this save, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, I was going to say that force buy was a little bit questionable. Because like usually a couple of MP9s into the mix makes more sense in my opinion, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they maybe chose the scouts to try and take a lot of those long-range duels, which makes sense, right? Because they did play them in the right positions. I think they just got deleted for the most part. So in hindsight, it does look a little bit silly. But there's 500 kicking things off quite nicely here. This should be 10-8 once all is said and done, unless Fashion and Webster can do any damage with their weaponry. But all things considered here, if 500 can make this work, down 5-10 on the T side of Overpass, doing it back-to-back to competition like Complexity and Fnatic, and then people got to start really taking notes on how this team is working some masterclass T sides.
100%. Like 500 in the past, they've done it, but like if you can repeat that success against a team like Fnatic on LAN, there is no sleeping on this team anymore. There is no reason to doubt or trout. I mean, look, regardless of the fact, it is the CT side that is going to be looked back upon with disdain if you're 500 on this map. But you're only really looking for like 6-7 rounds, something promising for this offense to get yourselves going. But this flash play could be the undoing of a couple of team members. Spotted out by, I believe that's Nicky, but I like the non-committal play he makes. Still have this big setup coming through from Khan. Don't want to let him get the guns, but I think it's a bit too far-fetched at this point. 1v4 for Roy. It seems like we're just getting ready to get a move on here for Fnatic. This first gun round, though, could mean everything, man. You lose it, and you could pretty much tie up the game off it.
Yeah, that's exactly the case right now. That's what it's all about. Trying to tie things up. Get right back into this D side here. And again, it looks like they have come into the second half revitalized with new energy. Showing that, despite a couple of phenomenal rounds from Fnatic, despite the way they close out that half with a pretty stunning closer, might not be enough. Peps are still topping the charts here for Fnatic, and that is scary for 500, but if they can still make do, if they can still close things out, it would be incredible here. They have a chance to really get tied up quickly. Uh-oh, Nikotas misrouted there as he splashed up, and Pepser at the top frag is taken down, and same case for Nikotas as well. They're getting away with nothing.
Those 3 kills are absolutely massive. I mean, 500, again, they're knocking on the door to potentially tie this game up, and Fnatic are running out of resources to stop that from being a thing. Yeah, sure, the Condors popped open, but they just don't have the manpower to counteract that anymore. And another kills through from the long flank. Ships held it from T-spawn, and instead of Fnatic pulling it back, it's just out-of-pocket pushes getting punished around the board. Mezzi, the IGL, left alone in the 1v5. His Ships is again holding for this smoke push. Is Mezzi gonna give it to him? Looked like he was, but instead just phasing it. We've seen this a couple of times from him. This seldomly worked out, and it won't happen again. Ships the double down, and it's a squeaky clean round for 500. Very well could lead to a tie game. It has to be a half buy or a save from Fnatic.
Wow, man, this T-side is just stunning. I mean, obviously that round is one of those, if you're Fnatic, you just kind of have to shake off, simply put, because nothing went your way. None of the kills, none of the opening duels, none of the opening exchanges were favoring you. But still, it was so impressive that they were able to get that done with ease right now. We can see composure, nothing but it. Stone Colder, 500 members as they gear themselves up to tie the scoreline here. This half has flown by us, and so has the lead if Fnatic don't win out on this sort of half by another timeout called out from them. This is their second utilized.
Yeah, and those smiles that we saw before halftime of Fnatic have quickly turned to serious game faces, poker faces across the board. Because, like, look, man, that little ground you had built yourselves and bought up coming into this half, it's just crumbled away in front of you. Deagle's the only thing you have standing between 500 and what can very easily be a tie game for the first time since, what, round 4?
Yeah, that would be an incredible resurgence here. Again, 500, maybe they get back to what could have been if they had just closed out a couple more CT-sided rounds, but all is forgiven. If they tie things up this quickly, although that is not the easiest of tasks when Roy's deleting with the Deagle.
That shot was kind of tasty, and I think they even flashed Roy up to try to get another peek off that Galil pickup, but not spotting anything just yet. It's the trade coming back for me that means 500 are still probably the ones sitting pretty in a round like this. And I like the way they're pathing up into the A side. It's a bit risky, but considering you know where 2 of the A defenders are, one being dead, the other in con, it's like, at most, you're going to run into like one Deagle sat in the corner. So if you just buddy system it up, there's not really that much of a risk to be presented against you. So, I think the Cinderella story will once again come to an end. 500 get the bomb down. And now it's about doing damage again for Fnatic.
Didn't get anything, although sent right off the perch there is Mezzy. Sent packing there, and Pepzer looking to find some shots there. Looking to pepper in some spam, but cannot land it with the Deagle. There's Fasher, though, with a nice one. Only one, and then done, though. And Roy, who kicked off the round, gets spammed down straight through the wall, and now we're all tied up as quick as can be. 5 strung together here for the boys over at 500. And they're starting to heat up here in this match.
This could be a make or break round 2 for Fnatic. You drop this one right here, 500 get their first lead since that second round, and all of a sudden, they might just be able to take this game by the horns. You think back to the 1 versus complexity, and I believe it was the same score they got stuck at, like 500. I think they went up to like 13, then it was 13 all. They just took it from there pretty much. Nikolas almost isolated by a Molotov. Rainwaker forced him back away, but instead it's the repeat that catches him. The op falls, and it's another disadvantage for the CTs.
Ooh,
Lucky
Rainwaker.
break, though.
It's taken down, yeah, straight through the smoke. Mezzy able to pull things back there. It is a lucky break, but maybe that's exactly what they need to get the ball moving on the CT side. It's still a 2-on-3. It still ships in the server, who has been lighting up the server so far, but no longer the case. Peps are going to put an end to his reign. It's just in his law with the bomb in his hands, potentially soon to grab that one. And then we can start to talk about this clutch taking place here if he plays his cards right.
I think he's overthinking this one, though. Going back way around into Monster, expecting a flank to have already brewed up, but it's only the taste of defeat that he can smell. Yeah, sure, you still got Pepsor low, but it's the crossfire that I don't think you're going to be able to break through. Pepsor is not even committing to this fight, too. He's just spotting. Taking his sweet time, though. Denislaw wants to make sure if Fnatic rotate, they will do it. When he goes into one of these bomb sites, he wants it to be as best a chance as it can possibly be. Pepsor, though, with the spot now, is going to start to call in the board for rotation. With every extra second you give is all the more unlikely this round becomes. Fnatic, they won't even need the rotation. They'll just shut it down on the initial hold. Op recovered too. Fnatic get the lead back, so still 500 can't overcome this wall.
Tricky to bypass it. Again, consistent T-side success is hard to muster up, but what they have given themselves is this massive cash flow, this huge economic reserve that they can consistently rely on, so that when rounds start to go south, when things start to go their way, and maybe when Fnatic get a couple nice spams across the smoke, it's not the end of the world immediately, but that could be, man. Nikolas taking a little bit of damage off his teammate's shoulders, but still finds the opening pick.
They have 2 players stuck in party, though, and Shims is not going to let that go unscathed. Doubling down and putting the advantage back into welcoming hams for the Bulgarians. It's a 4-on-3, very welcomed as they go backing up back into what looks to be a B take, inevitably. Patrick's still tucked into this corner, too, and I'm not too sure if Mezzy's aware of this. He's lingering around Khan pretty loosely, man. If he would have walked out into water, it's another freebie pick coming through from 500. That's still a possibility. Mezzy not spotted, oh my god! It's a res issue, in all honesty. Patrick, we saw that for us, but he's probably playing stretched. He definitely didn't see that, so they're getting timings to a T. Mezzy going all the way around through T-spawn, unbeknowing to his comrades. He gave him enough time. He's going to be the one to shut this round down. Still creeping, inching forward through spawn, and he's screaming at his teammates, buy me time, give me time. I've got the perfect lurk in play. Ships now with the AWP. The scope is heard. Mezzy, uh-oh, it's trigger discipline time, baby. Now spotting him. They won't turn around in time, and he's going to farm them all up. Bomb dropped into the welcoming hands of Fnatic. It's Patrick to not be able to close it out. Fnatic, the perfect timing play, bodes them another converted round.
The perfect flank right there. The stars aligning for Mezzy as he shuts things down in a massive fashion. Ships tried his darndest to deliver them this round, but look at this. Mezzy, not only does he find this flank, he even called that little nose flash that was being thrown in by Ships. So what could have gone wrong there is if Mezzy didn't activate on that flank in time, if he maybe chose to take down, a different player there in Ships, things could have gone wrong, but the players were ready to dodge up on those flashes. They were so well prepped for what was to come. And Mezzy, again, we highlighted him coming into this series for all the right reasons here, as the impact cannot be understated.
So here's the thing. I love Fnatic calling this timeout because while they did win these past 2 rounds, they're both very, very individual oriented. Something that's not going to be repeated. You had the, I believe it was a multi-kill coming back to defend off the B site in the last, and then there it was the timing from Mezzy. The moral of the story is it's not consistent success. So they want to figure out what's going wrong so they don't have to rely on the individual hero plays. They can go back to this defense that used to work against some of the best teams in the world. That's exactly what that timeout's for. Just because you win a round doesn't mean you made the right call. Fnatic understand that to full effect, but the rifles come back out and their money is still as fragile as ever.
Oh, Rainmaker can open up proceedings there on the Mezzy, so this time his impact not going to be fully stated. Denizlaw, just a narrow miss. Had an opportunity to switch the tides in their favor, but right now that's not the case, and that's a lot of information gathered as well. So Fnatic, a lot of these members lucky to walk away with their lives right now. I'm noticing Roy. He's deep and posted in towards this long angle, this fountain position. But what he doesn't realize is they've snuck by towards connector. And even despite the ground being taken from Roy, they have all the wrong reads.
They know. They know about this potential. You saw Denizlaw. He scoped in. He's aware of this possibility. And they might not even know how far forward they are, right? With that kill coming through, he might have just calmed. Yeah, they're coming up mountain now. It's only the footsteps in the bomb plant on A that really gives away the entire game plan here. And Fnatic in the 3-on-4 with the money as weak as it is. Do you really want to go for this retake? Nikita's mollied out of position. You've got to already wait for more utility to start fading away. I honestly think that smoke coming through is going to incentivize it. Yeah, they just give it up. Let them have their 11th. They've deserved it. It's well earned. And 500, I mean, it should have come a long time ago. But again, the story is better late than never. This late resurgence is starting to come to form again.
Unbelievable. Beautiful work being done right there for 500, nailing the timing. And again, man, I feel like you talked about this coming into our first match, but it's something we didn't really mention in the second one if you're just tuning in. But 500, the core of this roster, the communication, the long-standing core of this team, it certainly shows in certain rounds, and I think that is one of them. The preparation, the communication to just be prepared for that sort of fountain flank when 3 players are pushed up connector. That's just something that a lot of players wouldn't anticipate and a lot of teams wouldn't communicate. But 500 make sure to cross all their T's, dot all their I's in every last round, and that might be just what it takes to cross this finish line.
I also want to say, at this point, I don't even think it matters whether they win or lose. My mind is set. 500 are a team to be reckoned with. So, literally just this one performance right here, the fact that they're making it this competitive, yeah, it had its holes on the defensive front. Yeah, there were a couple of mishaps in this half so far, but it's that was their 6th round already, and there's still plenty of time left to play in regulation. I'm sold on this 500 train. I think they have what it takes to make playoffs, if not already have locked themselves into a comfortable spot to get there. But still, you'd love to take this away from Fnatic, and it's not impossible in the slightest. Buy is brought back out from Fnatic, but on the brink of a save call if they can't pull this round out of the hat right now.
Yeah, I mean, just talking about the Titans in this group right now, I think you got to say it's probably going to be the big 3 of complexity. Maybe that's my NA bias showing, but alongside it is going to be Fnatic and then Bad News Eagles. Astralis obviously operating with a couple of stand-ins, so you might discount them a little bit, but they can still do some damage. But if 500, if they take down 2 of them, in the first opening matches of the day, that's where we start to talk about some serious playoff contention. That's where this roster can do some damage, and they are certainly getting close to that point, man. These T sides are looking phenomenal, and it's the exact same plays that caught Complexity off guard that they're going to run back versus Fnatic, hoping to exploit this alongside the lack of presence here. And there's certainly a lack of presence as they'll scale far and deep up towards long before Fnatic are prepared for this.
They're going to pop through this smoke too. Mezzi might get caught off guard by this, throwing in a Molotov over towards Dice. It's going to get a lot of damage done, including kills amongst it. It's the IGL doubling down to fend off the A site solo dolo ships. He spotted the op in bathrooms, but they need to get this plant in. And Denislaw, that kill does just enough to allow it. Rainwaker,
one more.
Bit far behind on the flank. Oh my God, Roy, that's murder. But still, you're right. They do get the bomb down. That's insane. Needing to stay alive, those ships. Him balling could be the end of times, man. He almost had Roy caught with his back turned, but even though it's planted for him, this seems next to impossible. Nade's going to go deep, but it won't be deep enough. Faster going to be able to stay alive, and it's not even planted in the default spot, 500. I liked the call, and I liked the creativity they brought to the round, but I don't know, man. It's like they contacted up long, they took all that space, and they just drop a smoke. Like, they tell Fnatic they're there.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? That was my one problem with that round, because everything else was looking very promising. And honestly, I think they almost got away with it because of the timing that they were like gifted by Mezzi, right? Because he has his molly, he's throwing the utility out as soon as they push. That molly ended up helping him out quite a bit, and the multi-kill that he delivered was everything. Because if he doesn't get two there, I don't think that Fnatic win the round. So again, the impact of this IGL is unbelievable. Nikodas, though, risky flick, but he hangs around. He goes for seconds.
Speaking of going for seconds, Roy does just that and almost even doubles up with it. Maybe he does know Denislaw on the sidearm has the trade. 1.5 is worth it if you're Fnatic right now. You get the info, you get away, you get Nikodas to go into a more defensive position, and Fnatic can now play around the info they've been gathered up. Mezzi on the rotate. Still keeps 2 on this upper bomb site, but that's what 500 want. They've weakened up the lower site's defense. They're going to try to attack it off that.
It's moving in quickly towards this B side again. Caught with utility out. Pepser. He's got to nail the first shot, though. Has a chance for seconds, and he will find it. He's delivering big time. 3 headshots on this B hold. And he's going to send Denislaw completely scared and afraid away from that B bomb site, as far away as you can get from this super stand-in. Fnatic holding down the line, and young gun here filling in for some old veterans is showing so much teeth.
That was so good from Pepsor, man. I mean, this guy is the super stand-in, but my question is, why do they have ships throwing those flashes? Like, Denislaw throws his flashes over to his teammate to nose flash them out. Why isn't he just throwing them? That made no sense. Because now instead of having 3 people going out Monster, now it's a 1v3. You give him 2 isolated duels, Pepsor doesn't miss them. Like, take a gander here, right? Ships is back throwing flashes instead of going out with his team. It's just all isolated, individual duels. And Denislaw, he very easily could have and should have been the one throwing those flashes in. That's the biggest thing for me. Obviously, the round still went so one-sided, you don't really know if that would have changed the outcome, but it certainly would have made it more convincing.
There's no doubt, man, but I don't know, man. Peps are just delivering constantly, man. How could you expect the stand-in to do this much for Fnatic? He's looking to pull them across the finish line. I mean, that round's certain to get them close to it. 14 now. Looking to lock things in. And 500, they really have to play flawless from here on out. They lose this force buy, they'll be staring down the barrel of defeat here, and that's not the way you wanted to kick things off. Your scout taken down. The rest looking to press the issue.
They're already up into the site, but they haven't cleared the corner. Nikodas, Roy, the dynamic duo coming all the way in from Copenhagen Flames, still showing that cohesion on this roster. And holding down the A site without breaking a sweat. 15 easy rounds added up for Fnatic with 4 match points to kick off their group stage with a win.
Yeah, that's much more like it. That's a very comfortable hold right there. Beautiful work being done from Nikodas. Finally, he's able to land some nice shots and gets the job done. Good work coming through from him. And it's got to be a look at this Tech 9's Deagles in play here for 500 to try and get them back into this game. And 4 rounds in a row required is not the prettiest of prospects.
They've already taken a lot of flack from the nade damage. I think they understand the sign of the times. This one's over. A couple of molly kills already seals the deal. With the bomb dropped in the CT's hands, Pepzor looks for more. It is a super stand-in. He ends it with another big 4K. And this guy, you couldn't ask more of him. It's beautiful stuff from Fnatic.